most important element of the company, and that is limited liability. And like the previous legal personality, which you already knew, the concept of legal personality of a company, you also knew about the limited liability. I need not to further simplify it, but I will have a look and we will try to read it from a little theoretical aspect. So we know that legal personality is basically the liability of the shareholder is limited. If we look at the functional uh, relevance of this limited liability, that it limits the liability of the shareholder. Functional point of view. So normally we say that liability of the company is limited, fine, that's also true, but उसके जो consequences होते हैं, उसका जो beyond the scene जो function और purpose achieve किया जा रहा होता है, that is basically the curtailment of the liability of the shareholders or limitation on the liability of the shareholders. Uh, and when we say obviously that liability of the company is limited, we we mean that whatever are the assets of this particular company, whether they are in millions or billions or trillions, the third party can claim to the extent of that billions or millions or trillions and not beyond that. So in this way, the liability of that company becomes limited, so becomes the liability of its shareholders or its members. Thus, a creditor are limited to making claims against
Excuse me, sir.
assets. Yes.
सर सॉरी टू डिस्टर्ब यू ओवर हियर बट सर एक छोटी सी क्यूरी थी मनान हियर सर सर हमने ये अभी आपने हमें प्रीवियस प्रेसिडेंट्स में भी बताया था और लास्ट लेक्चर में भी जो मैं अंडरस्टैंड कर पाया था कि कंपनी उस वक्त वजूद में आती है व्हेन इट इज़ रजिस्टर्ड विद द सिक्योरिटीज़ एंड एक्सचेंज कमीशन ऑफ पाकिस्तान टू द एक्सटेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान लेकिन सर जो एंटिटी शील्डिंग का भी हमने प्रिंसिपल लास्ट लेक्चर में पढ़ा था जब सर कोई बंदा कैपिटल रेज करता है टू स्टार्ट अ कंपनी तो उसकी जो लायबिलिटी है वो पर्सन तक रहेगी बिकॉज कंपनी तो शायद लेटर स्टेज के ऊपर इनकारपोरेट होके इन एग्जिस्टेंस आएगी तो एक लीगल पर्सन बनेगी
You mean the liability of persons regarding
सर
raising of capital before
हाँ
the incorporation?
हाँ जी सर जी सर
I think we will spend whole class on this topic, the pre and the post incorporation contracts. उनमें
राइट
liability और उनमें उनमें क्या judgments हैं, we will look at them. ठीक?
राइट सर थैंक यू
That's very interesting. That basically talks about the liability of promoters. So that's very interesting. We have a very interesting case law, in fact, that I worked on, and I also presented a conference paper on that case law. So that was relating to the promoters. Basically, the persons, the guys who raised the capital before incorporation, technically we term them promoters. उन पे हम डिस्कस करेंगे. अच्छा जी. So here now within the limited liability, the creditors are limited to making claims against assets of the firm and have no claim against assets of the firm's shareholder. Now यहाँ पे आपने अब restrictions डाल रहे हैं, वहाँ पे you give rights to the creditors that the under the priority rule, if you remember, that the prior rule, the prior right is that of a creditor on the assets of the company. Here now, the second important element of the company law, the limited liability says that though they have the prior right against the assets of the company, but they have no claim against the assets of the shareholder. अब ये एक उन पे वहां पे they have been given the favor and now a little disfavor has been extended to the creditors. So, as just for information, the concept of limited liability, how old is this? What do you say? How old could this be? We might have read it in that article or in that chapter as well. Do you remember the concept of limited liability? How old is this concept? Any guesses, please? 020.
So I'm not sure, but
020, is it there? Where is 20? Okay, not inbound, Rafi. Okay,
Sir,
zero,
I think maybe he's here, sir. I think.
but I don't hear him. He's not responding.
sir,
He's
his
here.
mic is not working. Yes, sir, he's here. His mic is not working.
Sir, 0 to 0 Ubaid here, sir.
Where have you been?
Sir, actually वो सर एक्चुअली वो लैपटॉप में मैंने वो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट टीम कनेक्ट किया हुआ था, तो सर पता नहीं वो कोई माइक का प्रॉब्लम आ रहा था उसके अंदर, इस वजह से मैं रिस्पॉन्स नहीं कर सका टाइम पे।
जी 007.
सर इसमें ये पुराने किसी ज़माने में ना सर, ये आई थिंक इट्स अराउंड 15th सेंचुरी, ये 1400s की बात है। ये लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी का कॉन्सेप्ट हुआ करता था, और ये कुछ रिलीजियस कुछ कम्युनिटीज़ होती थी जिनको ये अवार्ड किया जाता था। फिर बाद में इसकी जो एग्जांपल मिलती है वो ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की कॉन्टेक्स्ट में मिलती हैं हमें, लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी वाली। और 1844 के एक्ट्स आए थे, 1855 के एक्ट्स आए थे, जिनके अंदर लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी का कॉन्सेप्ट मिलता है। ये थोड़ा सा बेसिक सर कहीं पे पढ़ा था मैंने, आई एम नॉट श्योर अबाउट दिस एंटायर थिंग, लेकिन इसकी जो ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी अलबत्ता मेरे जहन में मुझे ज़रूर याद है, और 1844 और 55 के जो एक्ट्स आए थे उनके अंदर भी इसका जिक्र था सर।
Yeah, you're right. So those were the English laws back in 1844. The first formal uh, legislation on the corporate law, that was 1844's law regarding the registration of the companies. And at that time, it was not as such a limited liability company. And we will study in 1 week, we will go through the development of this company law in detail, both in England and as well as in Pakistan. So yes, it was the Limited Liability Act of 1855 in UK, and in Pakistan or in subcontinent at that time it was Limited Liability Act of 1857, I guess. Yes, 1857 का था। Yeah, ठीक है, जिसके ज़रिए से it started, but even in some of the US state, it was not being accepted, and very lately, I think in the 1930s, up to 1930s, the companies had unlimited liability in some of the states of US. Okay, so the concept of limited liability of the company, formally, it's not that old. It's a little modern, we can say. अच्छा, so 3
सर उबैद हेयर सर, सर ये 17th सेंचुरी में तो ये कॉन्सेप्ट आ गया था, तो ये तो फिर काफी ओल्ड नहीं हो गया सर ये?
formally they will discuss that in detail when we will be talking about the development of company law. But at least in UK, the right to have a limited liability by every company was recognized in 1855. Prior to that, there was another way of having a separate personality, having a company, and having its liability limited. That was not like the law as we have it today. I mean, just register the company and you have your liability limited. It was not so prior to 1844. There was some other procedure. Basically, it was through the king or the parliament who used to give that uh, legal personality to a company. हम इसको ज़रा डिटेल में देखेंगे and we will be having look at the development of company law. अच्छा जी, ये आई वाज टेलिंग यू कैलिफोर्निया में 1931 में ये इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया था. इट मींस बिफोर 1931 देयर वाज unlimited liability in at least in the state of California of US. Nevertheless, today limited liability has become nearly a universal feature of the corporate law. अभी एक fact है, you cannot think about a company without a limited liability. एक recognized. Now, what happens here? In contrast to the limited legal personality, where who was being shielded, do you remember? Shielding or protection किसको प्रोवाइड किया जा रहा था लीगल पर्सनैलिटी के तहत?
सर उसमें क्रेडिटर को प्रोटेक्शन दिया जा रहा था.
क्रेडिटर्स को फेवर किया जा रहा था और कंपनी को बेसिकली एंटिटी को शील्ड किया जा रहा था कि शेयर होल्डर्स के क्रेडिटर जो हैं वो अटैक ना करें कंपनी के ऊपर.
बल्कि तो क्रेडिटर से प्रोटेक्ट किया जा रहा था, प्रोटेक्ट नहीं किया जा रहा था.
Yes, but not the creditors of the company, but specifically the creditors of the shareholder who could attack or who could foreclose on behalf of the shareholder on the company. So the company was shielded. It was protected from not only from the creditors of the shareholder, but even they were protected. Company was protected from the shareholder himself itself. You know, because shareholder may demand anytime. It could have demanded from the company to give me back the money I have invested into the legal personality or the legal entity. So also उसको protect कर दिया गया है. That fine, we give you one more option, but we cannot give you the right to withdraw the money or to withdraw that investment. Yes, for your convenience, we would not do any disfavor to you. We're gonna provide you an alternative that we will see in the next slides. But at least your right to take back money from the company that has been curtailed. You can't do that. और उसकी लॉजिक क्या है? Obviously, if you want to see the company and that particular business of the company as a as a going concern, you have to give that protection. Otherwise, you can guess. If one of the shareholder gets into the company and it demands its share, then that business of the company cannot sustain even. Sustenance को, उसकी continuity को, उसके going concern को ensure करने के लिए the entity has been shielded, protected. Limited के beyond जो objective achieve किया जा रहा है, and that is the converse of that is the owner's shielding. Now the owners are being protected, they are being shielded from who? They are being shielded from the creditors of the firm. वो अब कंपनी के creditors ये plea नहीं लेना चाहिए. They should not, at no cost, should they take this plea that since the assets of the company have been exhausted, now we must reach up to the shareholders and should have claim against the assets of the shareholder. Now this is the bifurcation here. This is the limitation on the right of claim of the creditors of the company. Now, me being a shareholder, now I have been shielded, I have been protected. So limited liability basically it protects the assets of firm's owner. अभी तक the term owner is being used, fine, from the claims of firm's creditor. ठीक है? So basically keep in mind whenever you are talking about the shielding of either entity or shielding of the shareholder, so always keep in mind two attackers from the company's perspective or on the as far as against the assets of the company there could be a shareholder who could attack or there could be creditor of the shareholder who could attack the assets of the company, and the company under the company law it has been shielded and protected. And I told you last time, you go through the company law provision and you find this protection that has been given to the company in various means and in various ways. On the other hand, when a shareholder has been protected, it has been shielded from the company itself and from the creditors of the company. So both these you can say loosely, primarily from the creditors of the company, and you can extend it to the company as well. Company cannot demand from the shareholder to give any money in addition to his investment into the company. जो मैंने invest कर दिया है, I'm liable for that. Yes, it is possible that if I have agreed to buy 200 shares or 2000 shares, or let's suppose 2 million shares, and I have paid for the 1 million shares, and the remaining amount is yet to be paid, that has been promised to be paid, then I am liable to pay that 1 million only, but not beyond 1 million. My liability would be to the extent of 2 million, of which I have purchased the shares. And if you look at the definition of limited liability company under the Company Act, you will find reference to that to this scenario, that the liability of the shareholder is limited to the extent of unpaid amount for the shares. So मेरी liability as a shareholder would be up to the extent of unpaid amount for the shares. But once I have paid that unpaid amount, I am done. इसके beyond नहीं जा सकती company मेरे against. Is this clear?
Excuse me, sir. Sir, is this rule absolute, or there could have been some exceptions as well?
Well, I mean, you have that lifting of the corporate veil and the fixing of the liability, that is possible, but that is an exception. And that is not generally done. That is done by the court only after getting into the details and into the company, it could be done. But general rule nahi hai. Was that your question? Did you get your answer?
Right, sir.
ठीक है. Now what happens when you have to remember entity shielding and owner's shielding. So what happens as a combination of these entity shielding and owner's shielding? Collectively, we call them basically the asset partitioning regime. Simply ये हो रहा है और कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा. If you further want to simplify that all shielding and the protection, it means that you have basically divided the assets of the company and the shareholders into two basically, where business assets, they are pledged as a security to the business creditor, while the personal assets of business owners are reserved for the owner's personal creditor. Simply, the assets have been partitioned. As soon as I invest into into a company, my assets are partitioned. They get divided. Primarily, दो divisions हो गए. Number one, my investment into the company. Number two, my rest of the assets. ये दो divisions at least हो जाते हैं. As soon as the company, as soon as I buy the shares of a company. Once the shares have been purchased, now the creditors of the company can have claim on the assets that I have given to the company. So they have been directly linked. The creditors of the company, they have been directly linked with the assets of the company, while I would be responsible and my personal assets have been partitioned and they would be reserved and they will be separated and they will be liable and responsible for my personal creditors. So I can have many creditors. In my list of creditors, there could be bank, there could be some business partnership, there could be some even shopkeeper whom I owe certain money as my as a when I have to buy some food or food items, grocery, etc. He could be my uh, creditor because I owe him some money, and all the rest of the creditors, they can claim against my personal assets, but they cannot claim against the assets of the company. But that doesn't mean, that simply means that they cannot attack the assets of the company by disturbing that. They can claim, obviously, they can claim my rights into the company. They can have that right um, transferred in their favor through the operation of law, but they cannot foreclose the my shares into the company. They cannot disturb it. मेरे bankrupt होने से कंपनी bankrupt नहीं होगी, ठीक है? So अगर मेरे creditors को problem है, do whatever you wanna do with me, you won't have any claim against the company, because on the other hand, you had already given the legal personality to the company, and the company itself would claim that you cannot come to me. I have nothing to do. I never dealt with you. I have nothing to do. I am a separate legal personnel, and I am responsible for my own assets. If you have any claim against my assets, you may come and sit and negotiate with me. But as far as the assets of my shareholder are concerned, you and your own shareholder are to be liable for that. I'm not going to be paid for that. ठीक है? तो इस तरह consequently what happened? The assets have been partitioned into the company and the rest of my assets. Similarly, if we extend that asset partitioning, so the more companies I will be investing in, the more partitioning of my assets. Okay? If I have purchased the shares of, let's suppose, 20 companies, so I would be having 21 assets partitioning. So 20 for all of the companies that I have invested into. So I cannot interfere into those companies. Neither can those 20 companies interfere into my personal assets. While my personal assets would be the 21st or 21 assets that belong to me only, and which are reserved, which are available for my personal creditors. ठीक हो गया? Is it clear? या मैंने इसको सिंपल चीज को ज्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेट कर दिया है?
नहीं सर, आसान हो गया सर, ये समझ में आया।
ठीक है, ओके। सो अ रिलेटेड एस्पेक्ट ऑफ एसेट पार्टीशनिंग के अब कुछ और भी एडवांटेजेस हैं और या कुछ कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस हैं। ये फिर as the company grew, so the businessmen, they try to find out more and more means and ways that when we have that concept of asset partitioning, so let's avail some other advantages as well. So let's have a look on that. Some other aspects are the advantages of separate or asset partitioning. It permits the firm to isolate different line of businesses for the purpose of obtaining credit. By separate subsidiaries, distinct venture and thus assets associated with each venture may be pledged as a security to creditor who deal with that. So it's not uncommon to create a subsidiary company. Okay, I hope you know what is subsidiary company 020.
No, sir.
सर
020.
उबैद है सर जी सर
I hope,
उबैद है सर
I hope you know the concept of subsidiaries.
सर जी सर मैं आपके साथ हूँ a subsidiary company sir is a company that is controlled or owned by another company by a parent company or sometimes a holding company sir.
Okay, fine. So as I was telling you, that company, they make their subsidiaries, which is in their complete control, but they reserve some asset for that particular business. And now since that subsidiary company, which is for all legal purposes, that is a separate legal personality. Under the law, you can't say that subsidiary is basically under the control of the parent company, so their liability is the same.
Holding
इसमें
company
यस होल्डिंग कंपनी, इसमें बहुत बहुत जूरिस्प्रूडेंस है, इस पे केस लॉज हैं, बट उसका कंक्लूजन ये है that ultimately whether holding company is liable for the assets or for the liability of the uh, subsidiary company, it will be determined by the court, and ultimately it's the discretion of the court to deal with that. ठीक है, but legally, generally, when a new company has been created, which is a subsidiary company, that will be considered a separate entity. Now that subsidiary separate entity, being a separate person, obviously it can interact, it can transact with some other creditors to borrow some money, take some favors, and that subsidiary would be doing all that thing on its own behalf, in its capacity as a separate legal person, having its own board of directors, having its own managers, and having doing all that thing according to the object of the company. ठीक हो गया? So इससे क्या होता है कि एटलीस्ट कंपनी जो मेन पेरेंट कंपनी है, इट सेपरेट सम एसेट्स, एसेट पार्टीशनिंग कर दी, क्योंकि अब as soon as you create another company, again assets have been partitioned. Now the assets that have been allocated to the new company, to the subsidiary, now that have become a separate assets. Again, there is a partition of the assets. Those now, the assets that now belong to the subsidiary company, now they got reserved for the creditors of that particular subsidiary company. So फिर again ये partition हो गई कंपनी की या एसेट्स की. ठीक है, तो ये एक मैकेनिज्म यूज किया जाता है इन ऑर्डर टू अवेल दी मोर एंड मोर क्रेडिट. ठीक है, एक कंपनी डायरेक्ट मुझे अगर डिफरेंट लोन्स नहीं दे सकती या कौन कौन से मेरे एसेट से मुझे लोन देगी, सो ये भी एक वे आउट है कि आप एक सेपरेट एडवेंचर, एक सेपरेट कंपनी क्रिएट कर लें और उसके अगेंस्ट फिर आप उसकी एसेट्स की सिक्योरिटी रख के आप किसी बैंकर से लोन ले सकते हैं और मनी बोरो कर सकते हैं. Some of the other advantages, by forming a company and its subsidiaries, it would share the risk of transaction with the firm's creditor. आप जब एसेट पार्टीशनिंग आप करते हैं तो इसका एक और एडवांटेज भी होता है, सिर्फ ये नहीं होता दैट यू आर गेटिंग मोर फाइनेंसेस फ्रॉम मार्केट, यू हैव अनदर एडवांटेज एज वेल। वो क्या है? सेपरेट सब्सिडीज ऑफ सेपरेट क्रेडिटर्स एंड दस मोर चांसेस ऑफ रेजिंग डेट फॉर द फर्म। ये तो एक हो गया ना, दैट यू कैन रेज मोर एंड मोर कैपिटल, बट you get into all creditors into the risks of the business, ठीक है? वो कैसे? If you have one business under the umbrella of one company, so whole of the liability would be upon you, and all the creditors, they will be chasing you in case of any default. But once you have created a separate legal personality, a separate subsidiary, now the creditors of that subsidiary would be going to that subsidiary only and not after you. And in other way, now the creditors, वो अब उनका रिस्क भी जरा सा शेयर हो गया। Previously, they had full burden upon me, they had full claim against me, and I was fully liable for them. Now, मैंने अपनी liability कम करके, I have created a separate personality, जो मुझसे different हो गई, distinct हो गई. I have nothing to do with that legally and technically. I have nothing to do with that subsidiary. Now, उसमें जो बिजनेस के रिस्क इन्वॉल्व है, उसके लिए अगर किसी क्रेडिटर ने उस कंपनी को कोई डेट वगैरह दिया तो वो क्रेडिटर का भी रिस्क इन्वॉल्व हो जाएगा। एक ये एडवांटेज होता है। दूसरा इसका ये भी होता है, इट सिंप्लीफाइज द बिजनेस बैंक्रप्सी एंड इंडिविजुअल बैंक्रप्सी। वो तो आई थिंक ऑन द फेस ऑफ दैट व्हेन वी से दैट as soon as the company is created, the assets have been partitioned. अब कंपनी की बैंक्रप्टसीज हो या इंडिविजुअल की बैंक्रप्टसीज हो, इंसॉल्वेंसीज हो, उनके लिए ज़रा लॉ क्लियर हो जाएगा। कंफ्यूजन नहीं होगी कि व्हेन आई बीइंग अ शेयर होल्डर, अगर मेरे अगेंस्ट इंसॉल्वेंसी की प्रोसीडिंग्स चलती है तो ऑब्वियसली उसमें मेरे तमाम एसेट्स को देखा जाएगा, दे विल बी एवेल्युएटेड एंड देन दे विल बी मेड अवेलेबल फॉर द क्रेडिटर्स। ये एक एस्पेक्ट हो गया। एंड ऑब्वियसली इफ यू डोंट मेक दिस एसेट पार्टीशनिंग, तो लॉजिकली वो जो इंडिविजुअल बैंक्रप्सी का जो लॉ है, it would try to interfere into my assets that I have invested into the company. तो उस complexities को भी avoid करने के लिए it has made it little simpler that my creditors, my bankruptcy for my creditors and my individual insolvency would take place, and it would have nothing to do with the insolvency or bankruptcy of the company. Similarly, in case of bankruptcy of the company, the assets have been partitioned. The procedure would be simple. Just follow the winding up relating rules of the company law and wind up that assets of the company to be available to the creditors of the company. So simply, do you think that it has simplified the bankruptcy procedure 018? Is he there?
Yes, sir.
तो डू यू थिंक ये बैंक्रप्टसी के सिस्टम को, बैंक्रप्टसी के लॉ को सिंप्लीफाई कर रहा है या कुछ उसमें कंप्लीट?
जी बिल्कुल। इसकी वजह से बैंक्रप्टसी चाहे इंडिविजुअल की हो चाहे बिजनेस की हो, वो सिंप्लीफाई इस तरह होगा कि बाद में हमें डिटर्मिनेशन में मुश्किलात पेश नहीं आएगी कि कौन कितना लायबल है और कौन कितना नहीं है, और कौन किस चीज़ के लिए और किस चीज़ के लिए नहीं है। तो अगर ऑलरेडी पार्टीशन हो चुकी होगी तो सारी चीज़ें डिटरमिन्ड होगी कि which thing is liable and which thing is not liable, and for whom it is liable and for whom it is not liable.
Yeah, I mean, but any other comments? Any other comments?
Sir. Hello.
जी
Sir, this is Naim Tariq. Sir, I have a little question with respect to the issue of the bankruptcy. For example, as we have discussed, it, that the subsidiary company will be creditors and not its holding company. But my question is, in the event of bankruptcy or in the event of liquidity of the company, uh, if a subsidiary fails to fulfill its commitment with respect to its creditors, uh, would the holding company, the parent company, would not be liable to the creditors, because ultimately subsidiary company, the parent company is the assets of the subsidiary company.
Yeah. Now just relate this concept as a general concept. Relate it with a general company in general, where a company was unable to pay back its debt and its shareholder, who had 90% of the shares of that company, that shareholder was not liable as a general rule. As a general rule. But if the court is reached and the court investigates and it finds out that there are certain influences by that 90% shareholder, it unveils, it pierces the veil and looks into the affairs of the company, and then it can fix the liability of the shareholder. So apply the same rule in that case as well. Primarily and generally, subsidiary is a separate legal personnel. It has certain assets of 1 million rupees, let's suppose. Now, when the creditor is giving money to that subsidiary, it must take into account how much credit you are giving to that company. Obviously, all the financial information of the company, at least, which is a registered company, they are being kept and they are available, especially for anyone who is going to transact with the company, especially creditors. So creditor basically has to satisfy itself. I give you another example. When you go and borrow money from a bank, look at the inquiry and investigation that takes place before they give you the loan. So should be the case there. And this is basically what happens there. So whatever are the assets of the company, whatever are the prospects of that company, the creditor is supposed to extend loan according to its credibility. But that is a general rule, and normally the parent company is not liable because it's a shareholder basically. It is 99% of the shareholder of that company, or more than 99%. But remember, there must be another individual who must have at least one share to make it a company. If you have only uh, one person, they cannot make a company. So there would be a shareholder. The parent company would be shareholder, but it has to, at least for the sake of formality, it has to add one more individual. वो कैसे होता है वो I think practically चीजों में देखते हैं. So generally it's not liable, parent is not liable, but someone can reach the court, the creditors can reach the court, and the liability of any of the culprit uh, of that uh, insolvent subsidiary company, his liability could be fixed. You see, Tariq?
Clear, sir. Thank you.
Okay, now it also facilitates the tradability of firm's share. How? Tradability of shares mean buying and selling of the shares को भी assets partitioning facilitate करती है. 002. When the assets are partitioned, my question, let me revise it. let me, when the assets are partitioned, it also helps to facilitate the buying and selling of the shares of the company. What, how it could help that tradability?
Sorry, sir.
Anyone? No idea, कोई guess नहीं अपना?
सर जी इसका जवाब ये है कि जब पार्टीशन हो जाएगी तो उसकी वजह से जो फर्म्स के शेयर है उसकी बाइंग और सेलिंग जो है वो इजी होगी। और सर उसकी वजह ये है कि मिसाल के तौर पे अगर किसी शेयर होल्डर्स का कोई पर्सनल मामला किसी के साथ चल रहा है उसके पर्सनल एसेट्स पे, तो वो मुतासिर नहीं होंगे, जो फर्म्स का एसेट है वो मुतासिर नहीं होगा उसकी वजह से। तो उसकी वजह से बाइंग एंड सेलिंग ऑफ द शेयर्स ऑफ द कंपनी विल बी इजी। अगर हम पार्टीशन नहीं करेंगे सर तो फिर इसका मतलब ये है कि उस शेयर होल्डर का जो पर्सनली किसी के साथ मामला चल रहा है, चाहे उसको उसने गारंटी देनी है, चाहे उसने कोई जो है वो क्रिएट करना है चार्जेस अपने पर्सनल एसेट्स पे, तो वो कंपनी के एसेट्स पे मुतासिर नहीं होंगे। तो उसकी वजह से उसकी बाइंग एंड सेलिंग जो है वो इजी होगी सर।
Yeah, I mean, any other comment? I mean, yes, correctly answered. कि जो when you know that the shares cannot be withdrawn, the investment cannot be withdrawn, it means that there is a kind of there is a kind of certainty that the company's share will remain intact and they shaken. So everyone can easily buy the shares without any disturbance uh, from the outsiders. ठीक है? So that is another advantage. The other one is that it facilitates monitoring of delegated management. If you have read that, otherwise you tell me. ये भी बड़ा interesting है, and you must remember it. Facilitation, or it helps the further monitoring of the delegated management or further monitoring of the board of directors. कैसे? 015.
Yes, audible, sir.
G. G 015. Ali Naki, we don't hear you. No, 015 is perhaps Harun. We don't hear you, Harun. So note him, Rafi, he is not around.
ओके सर। सर तो इसका जवाब ये है सर कि जो
Wait. Let me wake up some other guys. 014. Hamza. प्रेजेंट है आज? एब्सेंट है तो ठीक है। 008. Note them down, Rafi. 023. Yes. Salman?
जी सर।
How could, when you have asset partitioning, means certain assets have been reserved for the creditors of the company and rest of the assets of the shareholder have been reserved for the creditors of the shareholder. In this way, we say that it also strengthens, reinforces the monitoring of the management by the creditors of the company, over the manager of the company. Do you see my question? You understand? Sarvat, we don't hear you.
जी सर, मैं कह रहा हूँ मुझे नहीं आई सर आपका क्वेश्चन समझ।
क्वेश्चन सिंपल ये है that assets partitioning का concept clear है?
जी सर।
Now, as a result of that asset partitioning, we said that there is a more chances of more oversight or monitoring by the creditors of the company upon the directors of the company. The creditors of the company, they would have more check on the management of the company. Don't you think so?
Sir, I'm still not getting your question.
Anyone? Yes, Rafi?
सर इसका जवाब ये है कि जब जो भी कंपनी बन जाती है तो उसकी बुनियादी जिम्मेदारी तो उनकी मैनेजमेंट पे है कि वो उसका ख्याल रखे, लेकिन ये पार्टीशन की वजह से फ़ायदा ये होगा कि जो क्रेडिटर्स है वो भी इसकी मॉनिटरिंग करेंगे, और वो इस वजह से करेंगे कि उन्हें पता होगा कि अगर जब तक ये कंपनी है तो हमारे लिए मुदावे के लिए कोई चीज़ मौजूद है, अगर ये कंपनी नहीं है तो पर्सनल एसेट्स की तरफ हम जा नहीं सकते। तो गोया कि वो जो मॉनिटरिंग की जिम्मेदारी थी डेलीगेटेड मैनेजमेंट के साथ साथ वो क्रेडिटर्स पे शिफ्ट हो गई, क्योंकि वो भी रिस्क नहीं लेंगे और उसके तमाम चीज़ों पर नज़र रखेंगे कि वो कहीं लॉस न कर जाए, वो कहीं नुकसान में न चला जाए। सर,
Do you understand, Sarman?
जी सर।
हाँ जी?
यस सर।
देखिए, जब क्रेडिटर्स इन्वॉल्व हो रहा है तो डेफिनेटली आपने एसेट पार्टीशनिंग कर दी, आपने फॉर एग्जांपल सब्सिडी बना ली, तो उस सब्सिडी की बेसिस पे आपने फर्दर बोरोइंग कर ली। अब फर्दर बोरोइंग करके ऑब्वियसली वो जो बोरोअर होगा, नॉर्मली जो फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन होते हैं या बैंक्स होते हैं, so they would also be little worried about the success or otherwise of the company. तो प्राइमरीली तो कंसर्न शेयर होल्डर्स का होना चाहिए या होता है, यार कंपनी इफ इट इज a going concern, it is profiting, then we gonna get some profit, or at least we are not going into losses. So they have certain concerns, तो board of directors पे वो थोड़ा सा चेक रखते हैं, and board of director has to take care of that all that activity. But जैसे आपकी एग्जेक्टिव है, पार्लियामेंट कैबिनेट जो है दैट इज आंसरेबल टू द पार्लियामेंट, तो कैबिनेट एग्जीक्यूट कर रही होती है चीज़ों को, और पार्लियामेंट जो है वो शेयर होल्डर्स हैं जिनके आगे कैबिनेट भी आंसरेबल होती है अपने मामलात के लिए. सो इज द केस हियर, बट व्हेन यू हैव मेड अ सेपरेट सब्सिडी फॉर एग्जांपल, और यहाँ पे जब आपने मजीद क्रेडिटर्स को इन्वॉल्व कर दिया है, now those creditors would also be little worried. जैसे हमारे मामलात में IMF worried होता है जब वो हमें कमेंट्स कर रहा होता है, या दूसरे जो हमारे लोनर्स हैं दे आर वरीड कि हमारा कुछ हम सही उस समझ में जाएं कि एटलीस्ट उनको हम पेमेंट कर लें. अपेरेंटली हम ये होता है सीन कि हम अपेरेंटली कर लें. उसकी जो दूसरी क्या कहते हैं उसे, कौन सी थ्योरीज होती हैं, कॉन्स्पिरेसी थ्योरीज, या उसके जो नेगेटिव थ्योरीज हैं वो कुछ और है, हो सकती हैं, कुछ उनमें फैक्ट्स भी है. वो जो एक बुक है हिटमैन, वाली एक, you might have heard about that. तो वो दूसरा एक एस्पेक्ट है फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन का या ये IMF वगैरह का, लेकिन लॉजिकली IMF ने अगर अपना लोन जो उसने हमें दिया हुआ है, इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट। ठीक है, डेटर बिकम्स मोर विजिलेंट इन द अफेयर्स ऑफ द फर्म। क्रेडिटर के चूंकि कंसर्न आ गया तो वो भी जरा सा उसमें कंसर्न उसके हो गए। सो दैट वाज ऑल अबाउट द लिमिटेड लायबिलिटी कॉन्सेप्ट। इसके साथ आपने हमेशा लिंक करना है शेयर होल्डर को, शेयर होल्डर के साथ आपने शील्डिंग ऑफ द एसेट्स ऑफ द शेयर होल्डर को ध्यान में रखना है, और जो कि वुड बी द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ लिमिटेड लायबिलिटी कॉन्सेप्ट, जो कि अल्टीमेटली दे गेट इनटू द पार्टीशन ऑफ द एसेट्स ऑफ द कंपनी एंड द शेयर होल्डर्स, और फिर उसके हमने कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस डिस्कस कर दिए। Is it clear? Now let's move to the next element of the company, which is not that difficult. लेकिन someone is questioning.
खुर्रम भाई बड़ा शोर आ रहा है आपके बैकग्राउंड में, बहुत सारी वॉइसेस चल रही है।
Control Shift F.